Howdy folks, I'm Kyle Chambers with Texas Quality Assurance, and today we're going to talk about our quality management software, TQA Cloud. Fact is, TQA Cloud was developed simply because quality management systems are far too manual, far too slow. We all need help with everything, managing the processes, managing the documented information, and of course getting corrective actions and continual improvement completed and driven throughout the business. So we're going to take a few minutes to talk about it real briefly here. First, this is a demonstration site of TQA Cloud. It runs exclusively in Office 365, so there's no risk that it's not going to be compatible or not going to work with your organization. We're good to go. So we've got the top menu bar, document control, quality management, competence and training, and so on. And of course, we can customize and have hyperlinks here that better suit your needs. So what we'll do first is we'll take a look at process procedures. Let's look at process procedures here. Now you see that we, of course, tracked version number as required by any quality management standard, unique names, titles, process or category it's assigned to, and the approval status. Now I'm not going to do a full approval demonstration here, but suffice it to say it is insanely simple compared to the standard approval process. Basically what you do is you come over here, you'll check out a document. You make your edits. You check in your document, and when you're done, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Then what you do is we go over here, and we, instead of unpublish, it would state publish this version. So we'll publish that version of the document. When we publish that version, the fun thing that happens is the manager or person that is in charge of the quality documents, well, they get an email. And that email gives them a link to this document and tells them that you have published this document requesting approval. Should they choose to approve the document, it's again as simple as coming down here and clicking Approve the Document. We'll move it into the approved status. Now, all in all, that takes less than 3 minutes of time, barring the time you spent editing the document. Now consider, especially if you're in a multi-site organization, having to get that document emailed, which is a terrible way to control history, over to the approving manager. And then they're going to send it back with some changes and some modifications. And it's just a vicious little cycle that you go through. And it can take days to make it happen. In situations such as this, there's no issue. And also, if you wanted to go ahead and send them a link just to verify that they know you've got it, we can copy a link here. And we can send it straight to them as well. Maybe with a little more detailed explanation of what you did if they need that information. But the key is we're never going to make someone go hunt the document down. We're never going to make them go find it. There's no question to where it is. Now, I've seen a lot of systems in the last few years. And everyone loves a shared drive or a OneDrive. And oh my gosh, there can be 100 or more directories in there. So that hunt and peck process, unless you know where things are, can really take a lot of time. And if you're like me when I ran a similar system, everyone's calling you all the time saying, Kyle, where's this? Kyle, where's that? And you have to tell them the directory in the K drive or the L drive or the J drive or, wherever it might be. So we simplify that process. I want to talk to you, too, about corrective actions, how we simplify this and reduce paperwork. So corrective actions are always notorious for lingering forever. You'll notice that this looks similar to an Excel spreadsheet. That's by design. It's going to look similar to an Excel spreadsheet. In fact, we can even export all the data to an Excel spreadsheet if you wanted to look at it in a little more detail, maybe create some charts and graphs off of it, especially for management review time. This is simple. But you've got a lot more than what an Excel spreadsheet offers. An Excel spreadsheet might offer 30 columns, but oh man, those 30 columns can be a lot to look at and a lot to sort through and figure out. And if you don't work with it every day, it's really hard to know what's in there and what everything means. So we put it in a real easy visual form that looks just like your standard corrective action form. Now again, because we love email automation around here, the responsible person is going to get an email when this corrective action is assigned to them. Let me tell you a quick story. My old company, when I first developed an earlier version of the software, I had a production manager, Brian. Brian hated working on the computer. I really never knew why. I just knew he did. And truthfully, he would only log in about once a year, mostly at open enrollment time for insurance stuff. And so I assigned him a corrective action, and it went out over emails. What I didn't know is he used email on his BlackBerry. I guess that dates the tool a little bit. And so he had his BlackBerry, and from his BlackBerry, he opened the email. The email had a link to the corrective action for him to complete. And he opened up the corrective action, typed in all of the appropriate details, such as the deviation details. He assigned the appropriate codes, type in all of the correction details, again, assign the date and everything on there. And then what he did is he came in and he actually started attaching evidence of completion of the corrective action. So I use this example because it shows when you have a tool that's easy for people to use, that's easy for them to engage in, guess what? They use it and they engage in it. So that's what we've got here. And we can go through. This is a new field that we've added. It's kind of optional, but say you chose to do a particular root cause analysis. We want that available. You identify the root cause. This is a question I personally like to be in there. Why the root cause was not detected. It really forces you to take a second step to dig deeper to the issue. Because let's be honest, if you can say in a heartbeat why the root cause wasn't detected, you've probably not actually found the root cause. Then we go through and we can track preventative details. What was your mitigation plan? And here's the fun part. It's hard to incorporate risk as 9001 and other standards like API Q2 often want it. When we make it really easier. Corrective actions, well, the only reason we're taking action is because there's a risk that needs to be mitigated. So let's recognize that risk, let's document that risk, and run with it. So that's what we've got here. So we document the risk pre-mitigation. In this case, it was a low severity, kind of moderate occurrence, and low detection. So it gave us an RPN of 60, which is still pretty good by most standards. Then, after the effectiveness and everything is finished and all is said and done, we want to reevaluate our risk. And so here we are reevaluating the risk in this sample to a low risk of 30. And see, what I love to do is pull in a management review. And when you're analyzing your corrective actions and you're analyzing your risks and you're analyzing your nonconformities, well, I want to see what was the highest risk. What were the big things that hit us? But also, which ones did we do the best job at mitigating and the largest delta in the RPN? Which ones were a small delta in the RPN? Those that were a small delta in the RPN, they truthfully merit reexamination and reevaluation. And the management review is the perfect time to review and look at these things. So does it account for all of your risk management organization? No. But this definitely shows at a medium and low level how your organization is not only accounting for risk, but running with it and managing it and making the best use of that data. Finally, we have our final sign-offs. Now, one thing you might notice in here is there is no checkbox to change this to closed. I got rid of that a long time ago. The checkbox, people sometimes tend to change its status to closed when it's not really closed. So the status only changes when the supervisor and the manager sign and date it, and that changes its status to closed, pending an effectiveness demonstration. Once the effectiveness demonstrated is completed and the date is completed and everything else is completed, then we finally change this to closed effectiveness demonstrated, of course meeting all the requirements of virtually all standards that talk about corrective action. The last fun thing I want to talk about is here at the very bottom of the form. I used to have a problem where I have 10 corrective actions open, 5 corrective actions open, whatever it is. And, it just takes a lot of time to email someone. It truthfully takes about 3 or 4 minutes to craft an email about a corrective action. And because what you got to do is you have to come up here and you have to transfer the number. You have to send it to the name. And, you want to give him some details about what it was so that he doesn't, the gentleman doesn't forget the corrective action you're referencing. Well, what we do actually here is every time you type a comment and follow-up comments, what the system does is it sends your responsible person here an email, but it copies all of the basic information about the car and, of course, sends a hyperlink. So what was a 3 or 4 minute process can now be simple. Please follow up with me later today after the 2 p.m. meeting, right? So you type those comments and you click save. Now that gentleman's automatically going to receive that email. And you didn't have to do anything about it. And he knows you sent it because your user ID is tracked in the process. So it just makes it all simple. The last thing here is when these are aging, everything has to have a due date. We have to have a date that this is completed by. Once that due date is within a 7-day window, that responsible person starts receiving a daily email reminding him he is within that 7-day window. Past 7 days, what occurs is he gets a different email, bigger, bolder, nastier text that states, oh yeah, here's the follow-up update that we got. So he gets another email that states that he's overdue. And some of our clients have requested that if we go past the 7-day due date, that the quality manager or the operations manager or general manager then directly receive an email themselves to be brought into the loop that we have a significantly delinquent action. Again, all of these things happen in the background. These are all processes that are manual. They take time and attention and energy to execute, and we automate as much as is humanly possible. That's our goal. That's what we started out day one, is we want to save time and energy for what matters most. For me, it was because I wanted to get home in time to coach my son's Little League game. But for other folks, it can be the passion project at the office or driving profits for the next quarter or whatever it might be. The opportunity to improve yourself and your business should not be hindered by your quality management system.